police have made something like 70 total arrests since June, and there are no reports of buildings being burned to the ground.
When ICE officers have to street battle against Antifa, hand-to-hand combat every night.
They've arrested some 70 people since June. They've been arresting folks on the ground. They've been arresting folks on the ground. They refute what you're saying outright.
I want to hop into a CNN segment with Boris Sanchez absolutely cooking Stephen Miller, the dweeb, on his recent fascist rhetoric towards judges, protesters, the left, everything essentially, right? So take a moment if you can, leave us a like on the video. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. You guys are the only way we can get there. We really appreciate it. And let's get right into the takedown with some fact checks ready.
You make the claim of terrorist assaults and violence attack over 100 nights, and yet the judge overseeing this case says that that's untethered from reality. And local officials on the ground say that Trump's assertion of what's happening in Portland, that it's war-ravaged and burning to the ground, is far from true. I looked at the police data, and police have made something like 70 total arrests since June. And there are no reports of buildings being burned to the ground. The White House cited a guillotine being rolled out as like a public display of rebellion, but there isn't actually a threat that these demonstrators are going to overthrow the government. Are you concerned that that response weakens your legal argument?
No, they are actually, as we speak, trying to overthrow the core law enforcement function of the federal government.
Right, guys, there's no evidence or police records to back that up, but it's definitely happening. What's happening is the police are so overran by the crime that they can't manage to even file it. No wonder they need Trump, right? He's really saving the day. What I find funny about a lot of this is they are simply accusing the left of doing things that MAGA actually did on January 6th, of which Trump famously did not mobilize the National Guard despite pleas to do so. He then went on for years to say he could not possibly have done that. It was outside of his power. And then he went on to pardon them all and call them patriots and pretend they were wrongfully arrested or something as if it's no big deal. But now that it's those pesky Democrats, all militarized measures are needed. They all have to go to jail. No pardons are coming. The problem is that none of what he's claiming is actually happening, and everybody knows it.
When ICE officers have to street battle against Antifa, hand-to-hand combat every night to come and go from their building, when they try to exit in a vehicle, when they are swarmed and surrounded and they try to tip the vehicle over, when people bring weapons to an ICE facility to try to engage in direct violent assault against ICE officers, what is the purpose? It is to prevent immigration and customs enforcement from carrying out the mission the American people elected them to do.
You make the case that these are terrorists, but in what we've seen thus far, the actual incidents of people inciting violence and not responding to law enforcement attempting to disperse them are not an open rebellion. I mean, again, you make this characterization as though they're terrorists, and I do wonder if it is potentially a problem in the future.
I'm actually dying at the fact that he said hand-to-hand combat every night. Does this, they don't even care to sound realistic. The problem is that we live in 2025 and everyone has a cell phone and social media. If any of this stuff he's saying was happening, there would be daily videos we are seeing. There's not. We would have police records. We don't. What we have is minor offenses that are handled and quelled by local law enforcement. And you actually had this happen in Texas as well to further give the game away with an ICE facility being targeted. Meanwhile, no National Guard mobilization into Texas in the red city, red state where it happened. So the excuse is just convenient here. This is something MAGA often does. It's not an excuse that actually justifies their actions. It's not actually the motivation. It is just convenient, right? We only see this happening in blue states, blue cities against the wishes of Democrat politicians. It's clearly some flexing your guns, authoritarian intimidation tactic, and no American, regardless of your political affiliation, should stand for it in their city.
They have refused. They've been given a stand-down order. So
they've arrested some 70 people since June. They've been arresting folks on the ground. They've been arresting folks on the ground. They refute what you're saying outright.
We literally have the 911 audio of the stand-down order in Chicago, and we have documented inside of DHS every single unresponded to 911 call over the recent weeks and months.
Do you have evidence that this campaign is coordinated? Are you planning charges on anyone who is actually coordinating said campaign?
Yes. So since the Joint Terrorism Task Force has gotten involved, we found that there are common funding, that there is common financing, that there are meeting points, that
for
is
what you're
carefully
describing
orchestrated,
as actual
it is carefully
terrorism.
integrated. Yes.
And you are going to charge
this is
someone with terrorism.
Well, so I would like to.
Right. I love that he's getting straight to the point, because it's a lot of beating around the bush with these buzzwords to make a point that you're not actually committing to making, like slimy weasels do, right? The idea that any of this is true is about as accurate as Trump's claims about the 2020 election being stolen, of which he still proudly makes, but will never produce evidence for. It's just made for those who will dogmatically support him to rally behind, who will dogmatically believe anything that is Democrat bad, that Trump says, that is, government evil, right? Which then enables them with the base of support to erode our democratic structures in place of far more authoritarian or oppressive ones for the MAGA sheep to not realize until it's far too late. Wake up, MAGA. You fell for it again, and it's going to lead to all of us being doomed.